To formally open and welcome us for today's webinar, ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to have our very own guidance counselor, Mr. Hill Docina, RGC.
Hello, good morning. Hello, ma'am.
Good morning, sir.
A pleasant Thursday morning to each and everyone, especially to our OIC consultant, OIC President, Sir Dennis P. Mausisa, our consultant OIC Vice President for Admin, Sir Ian S. Tampan, and to our Dean of the Maritime, Sir Nestor A. Almero, students, faculty, and staff of Merchant Marine Academy of Caraga Incorporated. Indeed, it is my pleasure and honor to welcome you to this first ever webinar series, spearheaded by our health personnel, Ma'am Christine Adelo, with the support of our Head of Student Affairs and Services, Ma'am Johanna Noor, and of course with the help of our active human resource officer, Sir Joshua Lakaran. And we are very much happy to see our dear students who are here today, because with your presence, it goes to show that you are very much willing and eager to learn something from our webinar. We invited esteemed guests, speakers, who will be gracing of today's activity, and that we are also hoping you students to stay with us in the whole duration of this webinar. Later, you will be given a privilege to ask questions from our guest speaker to share your ideas and to clear some misconceptions if there is any. Once again, good morning and stay safe, everyone.
Thank you, Sir Docina, for that warm welcome. Okay, students are requested to register on given Google form posted on our official page. Our resource speaker this morning is a reliable and expert speaker when it comes to motivating, inspiring, and guiding people. Doing research, listening to podcasts, playing chess, and cycling are some of his hobbies. He graduated Bachelor of Arts in Guidance and Counseling at Father Saturnino Orius University on 2011. He is a graduate also of Master of Arts in Guidance and Counseling at Father Saturnino Orius University, 2015. He was a former member of the board in Philippine Guidance and Counseling Association, Caraga Chapter, from 2014 to 2017. He is currently taking up PhD in Counseling Psychology at Ateneo Davao University. He works as guidance counselor at Father Saturnino Orius University. Here to discuss about perceived stress of students in this time of pandemic. Everyone, let's give a virtual massive round of applause to the master of motivation himself, Mr. Carl Adam C. Soria, RGC.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, ma'am, for that introduction. Thank you. Am I audible? Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Okay. So once again, good morning. First of all, I would like to thank the good people who initiated this activity. Okay. I'm going to present now my screen. Okay. So my topic is all about stress, and when we are going to discuss about stress, this is not this is really common to all of us, no? Because labi na karon, no, when you're going to research on social media, say for example, or in Google, you can find a lot of things, no, or you can find a lot of info, helpful info on how to really manage stress. Okay, but then since that I am more since that I am interested on evolutionary and personality psychology, I'm going to give you my stance. No, this is not just merely my stance, but these are backed on some researches, no, on what really is the origin of stress, say for example, and then um, what is how are you going to tightly link personality to stress, no? Because there is a direct correlation between personality and stress. And then in this presentation, um, I'm also going to provide you some information on on meaning making, no? Meaning making as one of the remedies sa stress. Okay? Because meaning making is something that is not that you cannot really research, no, in Google. Okay, and this muna siya ang akong topic outline. First is we're going to discuss about the definition of stress, and then the causes of stress, the effects of stress, and then after that we are going to talk about improving your resilience. Okay, so I'm just going to promote this person because this person is not just nearly an author. In fact, he is a professor at the University of Toronto. He is a clinical psychologist. And this is his book, 12 Rules for Life. And in fact, nanapod siya bago nga book karon, no, which is released karon lang a month. No? Okay. His name is Dr. Jordan B. Peterson. So if you want to view his lectures, no, nana siya sa YouTube, okay? And he is a very, very credible person when you're going to research more on stress, anxiety, depression, how to make meaning in our life. Okay. So this will be my basis on this discussion. Okay. Okay, so let's start first with the definition of stress. And as what I mentioned, stress is really it's not really new to us, no, because in every developmental stages, no, that we encounter, there really is stress, no. Okay. So first definition is it's a physiological or psychological response to internal or external stressors. And then when we say stressors, these are the things, no? It could be an event, it could be a person, no, that causes us, which causes stress, no? And there are two types, no? There is what we call as internal, and there is also what we call as external. Okay, internal is all about ourselves, no? Our personal struggles, say for example, our insecurities that causes us stress. Okay, ang insecurity na to is makakause na siya stress. Our issues, say for example, our baggages. Okay, when we talk about external stressors, these are the things that are naa sa ato ang environment, no? It could be our family, say for example, that causes us stress. It could be our instructor, say for example. It could be our responsibilities, no? So these are the things that causes us stress, no? And ang tawag ana niya is stressors. So the second definition is from the American Psychological Association. So this involves changes affecting nearly every system of the body. So when we feel stressed, no, of course, na siya effects sa ato ang body, physiological in a physiological sense, and then influencing how people feel and behave, which mo affect na siya dito sa atong emotions and how we behave. Okay. So I have here a life fulcrum, no, especially karon sa I'm just going to relate this one in our present situation right now, which is ang pandemic, no. Um, Stress is really a normal response, no. Whenever we experience a situation that is new to us. Okay? Take note of that, no? Stress is really normal. Stress really is a normal response whenever the person experiences a new situation, regardless of what situation that is. Regardless if that situation could give us positive effects, say for example, or positive outcomes, or that situation gives us negative outcomes. So both outcome or both expectation, the person is going to experience stress. Okay? As what I mentioned, whenever the person experiences a new situation, the default response of the person is stress. Now, relating to our situation right now, which is a pandemic, no? So this is the life fulcrum, and then since that the person at first really or will really experience stress, so um, if the person is going to weigh in his situation, of course, mas labaw jud ang negative outcomes ngayang mahuna-hunaan. So it could be no negative outcomes gikan sa physical distancing, closed schools, no? Labi na karon laay kaayo kay dili kay ta is restricted ang atong mga lakaw because of the social distancing, no? And then daghan tag kinahanglan i-consider. And then we also have job loss, no, for employees, loved one with COVID-19. Nga wala na to nakita ang positive outcomes kay as what I mentioned, our the default response whenever the person experiences a new situation is stress. Okay. So there are a lot of descriptions of stress, but then if I'm going to state its description in a general sense, na ay 5 dimensions nga maapektuhan. Okay? So we have the physical, no, our physical state, our emotional state. Okay, of course, it will be affected by stress. Physical, say for example, is whenever the person experiences stress, aside from fatigue, no, aside from fatigue, which is common nga atong ma-experience whenever we feel stressed, no, there is this what we call as kung worse na gani nga situation natin gituwag nga panic attack, no, nga naa siya'y effect dito sa ato ang physiological state. Say for example, the person experiences stress, kung worse maka-experience siya panic attack, the person has this palpitations, no, maka-experience siya na night times nga ang person is maka-experience siya nga mutaas ang iyahang blood pressure, night times nga ang person maka-experience siya og difficulty of breathing. So yun. So nga night times nga ma-associate na dahil nato sa COVID pero dili di ay kana dahil siya stress lang dahil siya. And then the next one is our emotional state, no? So how we feel, no, whenever we feel stressed, no? So yun. Some would feel sad, some would feel depressed, no? By the way, class, depression is a clinical term. So dili ta dapat permanente nga maingon ta nga I'm depressed because ang katulang mga professionals ang pwede mo label sa imo that you are really experiencing depression. Okay? And then we also have the social aspect, no? Maapektuhan ang ato ang social aspect, no? How we relate with others, okay? And then we feel also stress because like I really do believe in this aphorism that no man is an island. So it really is a need for us to really socialize with others. And we feel stressed because katong atong nakagisnan nga atong gina-socialize before is wala na siya karon or dili na nato ma-socialize karon or restricted na because of the social distancing. And then we also have this intellectual aspect. Whenever the person experiences stress, of course, maapektuhan ang iyahang intellectual state, no? Dili na inana kamayo ang iyahang performance sa school. And then we also have this spiritual. Spiritual is more on like finding purpose and meaning in your life. It is really normal nga atong spiritual state is maapektuhan na karon because of the change in direction that we have. Before ni nahitabo ni nga pandemic, we have our expectations, we have our goals nga gusto nato ma-attain, and then niabot si pandemic, na-change ang ato ang goals or nawala ta sa kung unsay atong gi-expect nga mahitabo sa ato ang life. Okay? So, and then I also have this another description of stress, no? Because as what I mentioned kanina, that when the person experiences a new situation, the default response is stress, no? This is also has something to do with our explored territory and our unexplored territory. In life, no? In life, we have this what we call as explored territory and unexplored territory. Explored territory has something to do with our comfort zone. Sa atong usual na nanagian, no? Like atong routine nga ginabuhat every day, no? So kaning routine nga atong ginabuhat every day, kung kinsa ni atong kaila asa ta nagpuyo, mo na atong gi-consider nga explored territory. Meaning to say, mo na siya ang ato ang comfort zone. Whenever the person experiences a new situation, mag-consider na to na siya nga situation as unexplored territory. Like say for example, whenever the person wants to experience something into his life that is new to him or her, no, that will you can consider that one as an unexplored territory. And then the person feels stress whenever the person engages, no, or tries to go beyond. Nag-Shopee, pero may nag-on og mic. Okay, thank you. So, when you go beyond your explored territory and go to the unknown, no, something that is not expected, no, because that is new to you, of course you will feel, stress. Okay. Mute ko palihog sa mic. Thank you. Okay. I have here a study, no, two studies. This talk about these studies talk about resilience, no. The person experiences stress because it has something to do with his resilience level, no, the way he cope, the way he copes, the way he adapts into a situation. So why is it nga ako na siyang gi-include diri? Because as what I mentioned, resilience is tightly linked with stress. Okay? And then resilience, based on these studies, is also tightly linked with personality. Okay? So therefore, personality is tightly linked with our stress levels. So yun. So I have here 5 personality traits. So these 5 personality dimensions are naa siya sa ato ang tanan. Okay? I'm using the Big 5 personality factor by Robert McRae and Paul T. Costa as an example because these 5 personality traits are the Big 5 personality factors are valid across cultures. Okay? So applicable ni siya sa tanan. So mo ni siya ang 5 dimensions sa ato ang personality. So we have the neuroticism, openness, conscientiousness, extraversion, and then agreeableness. Okay? So why is it that these 5 personality traits are tightly linked with our stress levels? And then later on, we are going to talk about resilience. Okay? So these are the 5 big factors. Okay? So we have openness, para dili maglibog, ocean. Okay? Openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and then neuroticism. So I'm just going to give na lang an example why these traits are tightly linked with our stress levels. So say for example, when you're going to talk about agreeableness, no, okay, if the person got a low score, no, sa agreeableness, the person is disagreeable, meaning to say, low ang iyang agreeableness. Agreeableness has something to do with being cooperative with others, no, trustworthy, and then good-natured. If the person got low scores agreeableness, the person is disagreeable, meaning to say, the person he's a no person. Siguro siya ingog no, 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 no. Whenever there is a request, the person will say no. Okay? Whenever there's an opportunity, if the person thinks nga dili na siya tightly linked sa iyang goal, the person will say no. Okay? If, say for example, if naay mga barkada nga manghagad sa iyaha tapos dili na makatabang sa iyaha, the person will automatically say no if the person has a low score in agreeableness. Now, on the other hand, no, if the person got a high score, so taas ang iyahang agreeableness level. So he's a yes person. So in every opportunity, in every situation, no, if there is a request, the person will keep on saying yes. Okay? Yes lang ng perme, yes lang ng yes lang ng yes. So yun. So if the person is taas siya og agreeableness level. So why is it that this is tightly linked with stress? So say for example, if the person is high in agreeableness, no? So meaning sige ra siya yes. Tendency would be the moment nga magsige na lang pug kag yes sa imong life, mas managhan ang imong responsibilities. So the more nga daghan kag responsibilities, no, daghan ang imong obligations, maglisod ka og manage sa imong time, right? So yun. So like say for example, initially, you have this kind of goal nga gusto nimo nga ma-attain nimo sa imong life. Tapos here comes another opportunity and then you're going to grab it because you are a yes person. So tendency would be mawala ka. There's a tendency nga mawala ka sa kung unsay gusto nimo mahitabo sa imong life. Permanente na lang ka mo accept sa kung unsay opportunity nga imuhang ginadawat. Or say for example, when you are studying and then you are a yes person and then your barkada will say, laag sa ta, no, ayo sa pagtuon. Since that you are a yes person, you are going to laag, no? And then mawala na din ka sa imuhang time management. So there's a tendency that nga maka-experience jud kag stress because of that, no? So yon. That's why ang mga agreeable people, no, if you have that kind of personality nga magsige na lang kag yes, no, so you need to you really need to practice the other side of the spectrum in which katong learn how to say no. However, dito pud sa no, if grabe ra pud kay ka disagreeable nga person, of course maka-experience gihapon kag stress. Why? Because ang mga disagreeable people is having problem or are having problems with dealing with others because you keep on saying no. No? So there are times that you will be misinterpreted by other people. So yon. Of course, ana, you will experience stress. No? That's why for the people who are having high on disagreeableness, of course, you are also really required to practice the other side of the spectrum para mabalance siya tanan. So that is an example. Now, unsa man jud ang among these 5 traits, unsa man jud ang pinaka-link jud dito sa ato ang stress level. Kana siya is kaning trait neuroticism, in which kaning pinaka-last, no? Tendency towards unstable emotions. Okay? If you have a low score sa kaning neuroticism, so you are calm, you are even-tempered, and then you are secured. Okay? However, if you have a high score in neuroticism, trait neuroticism, tendency would be you will become anxious, unhappy, prone to negative emotions. So taas ang imong anxiety level if taas ka og score sa trait neuroticism. Okay? Now, as what I mentioned, no, you really need to balance, no, the two spectrum, no, nga dapat ang duha is dili dapat extreme ang duha. Why is that, no? Kay even if you are calm or even tempered, no, or secured, you will still experience stress. Why is that, no? Because if you are too calm, no, so meaning to say, grabe kay ka kakumpiyansa sa imong mga requirements, dili ka maka-feel og anxiety, no? Moabot na sa time nga magkadaghan ang imong requirements because you are too calm, tendency would be later on ana maka-experience na dayapon ka og stress. That's why dapat balance. Because ang anxiety is not really totally nga makaingon ta nga it's a bad thing, no? Kinahanglan ta og anxiety sa ato ang body, no? Because in order for us to move forward, no? If we are not anxious, no, complacent ra kay ta, tendency would be we're not going to do something in order to improve our life. Okay? So, yun. So, the question here is that, sir, asa kaning personality traits o giunsa ni siya pag-develop, okay? So I'm going to explain this diagram in a layman's way, no. This is a diagram from Robert Paul T. Costa and then Robert McRae. Kani siya is ang personality or katong 5 big personality traits is na siya biological basis. So meaning to say innate na siya sa atoa. So gikan na siya sa atoang, it could be nakuha na to na siya nga personality sa atong mama, it could be nakuha na to na siya nga personality trait sa atoang papa. So yon. So naa siya ay biological predisposition. Okay? However, no, dili ta masad labi na pag natin acquire sa ilahang nga dili maayo nga personality trait because sa personality there is also what we call as characteristic adaptations. Meaning to say, mag-agad ang change sa ato ang personality depende sa kung unsa ta ka flexible, no? So yon, atong flexibility. So, na-jud ay tendency nga ma-change jud ang atong personality trait. Labi na if we are willing to do so. And then ato na siyang hinahinayan. Labi na but then we need to start with recognizing that kind of personality trait before we gradually change it. Okay? Okay, so what are the effects of stress? So whenever we feel stress, no, there are 3 effects, no. So there's what we call as fight, flight, and then freeze. Okay? So ang fight is all about you're going to fight the stressor, okay? Or you're going to make that stressor adjust to you, no? Or you're going to adjust with that kind of stressor. So say for example, if there is an opportunity and then you consider that at first you consider that opportunity as a stressor to you, okay, situation, no? And then if you think that kaya ra siya, so you're going to fight that stressor, you're going to adjust with that stressor and then learn something new from that stress. Do nga mga subjects, no? Of course, kanimo jud mga subject experience man jud first, we consider these subjects as stressors, right? And since that we have this kind of course, no, and then you are very much willing to learn, so that in this kind of stressor, so we are going to avoid that kind of stressor. That is what we call as flight. And then ang freeze is not really common permanente sa ato. Freeze is all about the person experiences stress and then dili niya ma-comprehend kung unsa jud na siya nga klase nga stress nga niabot sa iyang life, then the person will experience trauma. That's why ang freeze is common to people who experience post-traumatic stress disorder. Okay? So that is freeze. Okay? So let's go now to the remedy of stress, no, or on how to gradually decrease our stress levels. So this is something to do with our resilience. Okay. So psychologists define resilience, no, as the process of adapting when the threats or significant sources of stress. So as what I mentioned, resilience is tightly linked with stress. And then don't forget that resilience and stress are tightly linked with our personality. So there is something in us that we need to change in order to decrease our stress levels and also at the same time increase our resilience. Okay? So, according to John Grich, there are primary components of resilience. There is this what we call as self-regulation, no? And then interpersonal relationships and meaning making. So, what is self-regulation? Self-regulation is all about the ability to control yourself, control your emotions. So if you're going to reflect right now on your personality, no, do you have the tendency against a situation, a very shocking situation, no? Like for example, anger management issues. Dali ra ba ka masuko? Dali ra ba ka mag-burst out, no? Whenever you experience this kind of situation nga makapasuko sa imuha, okay? Excuse me. And then when you feel this kind of emotion, how are you going to, how do you compose yourself, no? Whenever you feel this kind of emotion, like for example is angry, how do you compose yourself? Okay, do you directly punch that person, or try to display an aggressive behavior, an assertive behavior? I know you are really encouraged to socialize with other people, because aside from practicing how you compose with others, you can also learn from their experiences. And then having a close relationship with other people also improves your empathy, no? The ability to understand the feelings of others. So yun. So that's why it is really you're really encouraged to really form relationships with other people. Okay. And then we also have meaning making. How you establish or how you form meaning into your life. Okay. Purpose in your life. Finding purpose in your life. So if you're going to reflect on yourself now, if you're going to ask yourself now, what is the purpose of my life? So in a layman's way, para kanino ka bumubang. So yun. So something like that. Okay. In order to improve your resilience. Because finding meaning is all about, okay, granting this is my purpose in life. Whatever stressors that will come into my way, no, I will still persevere because I know the direction of my life. Okay? So yun. So I'm going to discuss further anang meaning making later on. So what are the strategies to increase your capacity for resilience? So this is in connection to interpersonal relationship, no? So number one is you build your connection. Okay? So you need to prioritize relationship, you need to mingle with other people. If you are introverted, no, if you are introverted, you need to practice the other side of the spectrum, katong extraversion. Okay? Why? Because as what I mentioned, no, you feel stressed, no, or your resilience is low if you are introverted, or if grabe na kay kakataas kayo ang imuhang introversion, because tendency would be um you refuse to learn from the experiences of others, say for example. Okay? And then we also have foster wellness. Am I still audible?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir. So, foster wellness, okay? You need to exercise, no? Take care of your body. How's your diet, no? Kay basin man god og whenever you feel stress, naman tayo gitawag nga stress eating, no? So pag stress kay ta, hala, grabe kaon, consume og sugar. So yun. So and then sugar is really responsible for inflammation. Kung na kay mga hubag-hubag, no? Ang sugar is responsible ana. So yun. That's why you need to take good care of your body, exercise. You need to exercise every day. There's this study that says that kaning mga 50 years old, no, when they exercise, ang ilang brain capacity is mo age og 30, no, according to some researches. Okay? That's why we need to take care of our body in order to increase our resilience. Okay? and then practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is all about considering the here and the now, no? Because human beings as we are, no, we experience stress because we either live in the past or in the future without even considering the present. So we feel anxious because magsitag tan-aw sa kung unsay naa sa unahan nga mahitabo, posible mahitabo based on how you perceive it. But then when you're going to go back on the description of anxiety, anxiety is all about the fear of the unknown. Something that is not really happening yet. Okay? So yun. That's why in mindfulness, it encourages us to appreciate what is in the present, what is in the now. Okay, outlets, no? Especially for boys, no? Whenever we experience stress, tendency would be dili lang stress sa eskwela, stress say for example sa pamilya, asa man ta mo adto ta sa atong mga barkada, inom na dayon, no? Share how you feel about your experience, say for example. Though helpful ang pag-share, no, sa ato ang problema sa ato ang friends, no, which is highly recommended. But then when you are going to sabayan mo na siya og drinking alcohol, so tendency would be, no, mas dako na yun siyang impact sa ato ang physiological state nga mas maka-increase sa ato ang stress. Okay? And then the next one is find purpose. And finding purpose has something to do with helping others or being proactive. But then I'm just going to somehow add something with this one before we help others, no. Before we help others, no, this is what I also learned from Jordan Peterson. You need to help yourself first. You cannot become an effective helper, no, if you're not going to prioritize yourself first. That's why there is this famous aphorism that it is more difficult to rule the self than to rule the city, no? Lisod kaayo i-rule ang tong kaugalingon than to rule the city. But then you cannot become effective helper to others if you're not going to consider yourself first. And then how are you going to do that? No? First is self-awareness. You need to be aware of your strengths and weaknesses first. Ang imuha pong mga capabilities. So yun, before you can help others. Okay? And then we also have you need to be proactive, no? So if there are opportunities that will come to us, and then if you think that these opportunities tightly link into your goal, no? So you need to grab it as long as this is tightly linked sa imong goal, because there are opportunities nga dili sa tightly linked sa imong goal, and then as what I mentioned kanina about atong trait agreeableness nga dawat lang ka permanente og mga opportunity nga dili siya tightly linked sa kung unsay gusto mahitabo nimo sa imong life, tendency would be you will really feel stressed. So yun. Kay ang imo na pong kalaban ana is ang imuhang time management. You have 24 hours a day lang, no? So yun. So mura na siya ang imuhang pwede nimo ma-consume sa pag-manage nimo sa imuhang time, and then you're going to accept another opportunity. So tendency would be, no, maka-feel ka grabbing a stress. So that's why proactive in the sense nga it's tightly linked with your goal. Now the hindrance of being proactive is fear, no? And that's normal, no? Okay, because of that situation. That's why as what I mentioned, the person experiences fear or stress whenever the person is going to go beyond the explored territory or our comfort zone into the unknown or into the unexplored one. However, no, don't you know that in life we are really required to go beyond our explored territory and go into the unknown, no? So why is that? Why is that? Simple answer is in order to improve our resilience. Kaya if narata permis ato ang comfort zone, tendency would be ang atong stress level is permanente ra jud sa ingon ana, or worse mas mutaas siya kay ang atong body, ang atong system naanad naman siya sa comfort nga atong gina-experience. Okay? That's why we are really required to go beyond our explored territory. So yun. That's why as what I mentioned ganina, for the effects of stress, no, 'di ba? I mentioned flight, fight, or freeze, no? And then the question there is that what is the solution, no? What is really the solution among these three in order to really lessen our stress level? And the only solution, according to researches, is to fight the stressor. As long as kaya ra jud siya, no? Fight the stressor. So this talk is not really merely on trying to do yoga something and then you're going to close your eyes and then after ana nawala na din ang stress. No. You need to confront something with that stressor. What is lacking to me nga kinahanglan ana nga stressor, and then I need to change something into myself in order to improve myself, and at the same time in order for me to gradually adapt in that kind of stressor to become stronger. Again, the only way for us to improve our resilience and to lessen our stress level is to really combat that stressor. Here's an example, no. In counseling, no, in therapy, what we do with our clients, no, whenever the person experiences stress, whenever the person experiences being anxious, is not to lessen the stressor, no? Labi na pag kana siya nga stressor is inevitable, unavoidable, no? So, like say for example, this is the stress level of the person, and then this is the stressor, no? Taas kayang stressor, that's why the person experiences stress. Muna siyang resilience level sa person, say for example nga grabe ka low. Instead of making the environment safer, nga mo'y nakakause sa stress, what we do with our clients is to make the client braver, no? Not making the environment safer, no? In which, in contrary sa uban nga mga practices that we will say that we are going to make their environment safer. No, because the world really is a dangerous place. To tell you, class, why is that? What's the meaning of that? Well, in life, illness comes in, a death of a loved one will come, financial troubles will come into your life, really, no? And then, how are you going to compose yourself if in the first place naanad ta nga inana ka safe ang ato ang environment, di ba? And then wala ta nakaagi nga mo explore ta beyond the unknown, right? Of course, we will not become braver. That's why in therapy, no, we are going to make the client braver instead of making the environment safer, because in environment or situation is inevitable, uncontrollable, most of the situations. Okay? So I have here this is a funny study, no, but kanang, or a weird study, but kanang try to bear with me on this one. I don't know if this is true, but then we're just going to discuss about the lesson behind the research, no. We know that this is a lobster, no, and according to some evolutionary psychologists, no, aside sa katong atong nahibaw-an nga gikan ta sa kang Charles Darwin's kanang evolution nga gikan ta sa ape, no, or sa monkey or sa chimps, no, before ana, no, katong sa dugay pa jud kayo nga panahon, according to some researches, kita daw is natay tightly linked daw tagamay sa lobster, say for example. So why is that daw, no? Why is that, no? Just forget na lang about that one kay medyo kuan kay na siya, but then ako lang ikuhaon kung unsay reason behind that one, and then I'm going to connect that one with our present situation right now. Ang mga lobster is they're living in dominance hierarchy. So the moment the person or the moment the lobster wins in a fight because naman sila territorial man ang mga lobster, no? And then they have this nasa sa mga lobsters nasa sila hierarchy na ay pinakalabaw sa ilaha. And then kaning pinakalabaw is mo ni siya ang victor kibali sa ilaha, pinakaisog sa ilaha. So whenever a lobster wins in a fight, ang lobster is mag-straighten ang iyahang body. And then according to neuroscientific studies, whenever the lobster wins into a fight, their serotonin levels, no? Ang serotonin is a hormone which is responsible for, it's a victor hormone, and at the same time, a happy hormone. So, whenever the lobster wins into a fight, magkataas ang iyahang serotonergic level. Now, why is it, what is it something to do with humans, no? Ang human beings are pareha sila sa lobster nga naay serotonin nga hormone sa ato ang brain. So yun, or neurochemical sa ato ang brain. Now, whenever the person wins into a fight, not just fight, but then combat stress, fight stress, and then overcome na nila nga stress, the person's serotonergic level increases. Okay? And then, while nagka-increase ang atong serotonergic level, the more ta mo engage aning nga mga situations nga lisod sa atoa, the more ta mas makadaog. Taas naman ang ato ang serotonergic level. So, munang uban, kanang grabe na kayo experience sa ilahang life, dili na kayo sila matinag o na mga stressor nga maabot sa ilang life, kay taas naman daan ang ilahang serotonergic level. So, take a look at Manny Pacquiao, no? An athlete, no? Whenever he wins into a fight, no, mas taas og tendency nga sa sunod nga fight mas makadaog pa jud siya until sa mas makadaog pa jud siya sa sunod. So yon. So that's an example. So if you're going to relate that one in our situation, serotonin is very helpful in order for us to increase our resilience. That's why we are really required to confront our stress in a proper way, no? So yon, in order for us to increase our resilience. Okay? So yon. So, the next one is embrace healthy thoughts, no? Keep things in perspective. Our goals in life should be intact, no? If there are changes, then we need to reflect again, but then try to see to it that these changes is somehow closely linked gihapon sa ato ang goal, because all of us, no, nadyo tay goals sa ato ang life, no? So yun, and goals are very, very important in our life because goals helps us to move forward. And then accept change, no? For accepting change, no? This person, no, is a very famous author, no? His name is Viktor Frankl, and his book is Man's Search for Meaning. So why is it nga akong gibutang diri si Viktor Frankl? Si Viktor Frankl is his life, no, is very, very tragic. Why? Si Viktor Frankl is nag-exist siya atong time during sa katungkang Hitler, no? So I know that you're familiar with Hitler, no, and what he did to the Jews, okay? And then katunga time is for a while. Katunga time is si Viktor Frankl became a prisoner, no, atunga time sa mga Nazis. Na siya dito na detain sa Auschwitz. Ang Auschwitz is it's a concentration camp, no. And then lisod kayo ang life nila ato nga time, no. Wala kanang kulang kay food, no. And then ginaparusahan pa jud sila, yun ana ang life ni Viktor Frankl ato nga time. And then ang pinakasakit pa jud nga experience niya was wala na niya nakita ang iyang family, wala siya kabalo kung nangamatay na ba ang member sa iyahang family, no. And then what Viktor Frankl found out was that, no, or except aside from instead of trying to though present sa iya tong grieve man jud or mourn man jud sa atong time, right? But then instead of dwelling of that kind of feeling, no, he tried to accept his path, no, as a prisoner atong time, and tried to find purpose and meaning sa iyang life didto sa concentration camp. Now, Viktor Frankl is a scientist. So what he found out was that, because si Viktor Frankl is a doctor man, that's why he's a scientist. So what he found out at the time was that iyang gistudihan ang iyahang mga inmates, no? And then what he found out was that katong mga inmates nga wala nakabalo kung unsay direction sa ilang life, or wala nakabalo na kung unsay meaning sa ilang life, is dali to nangamatay. And then katong mga inmates nga nakabalo sila kung unsay purpose sa ilang life, despite nga na sila adto nga situation, no, or kato siya nga existential given nila, so mas ni-survive sila og atong time nga nakadaog na napildi na ang mga Nazis, so moto nga ni-survive sila. So yun, okay, because they found meaning into their lives adto nga time, no? Okay, so what is meaning, no? So si meaning can be found behind chaos and order. So this is yin and yang symbol, right? So this is a life cycle, no? Ang layman's way ani is gulong ng palad per kinana. So in life, natay gitawag nga chaos, naputay gitawag nga order, no? So where can you find the meaning? It's behind the chaos and the order. Ang chaos is, ang order is something like everything is in place, no? Kung sa atong routine mo na jud na siya. But then in life, maabot jud ang trouble, no? That's why mo na siya gitawag nga chaos, no? Mo jud na siya ang life, night times nga okay ang tanan, napoy times nga dili pud okay ang tanan kay moabot jud ang mga problema sa ato. So in life, we are really required to confront our chaos, no? And then where can you find the meaning that despite of the chaos, no, the troubles, the negative experiences that you experience at that time, if you find meaning and purpose in your life, of course you will persevere, no? So yun. So if you're going to reflect right now in your life, no, like what is really the meaning of your life? What is really the purpose in your life? If you're enrolling in that course that you're enrolling right now, do you find meaning in that kind of course? What is the meaning of enrolling in this course? So try to reflect on these things in order to improve your resilience. Okay, once nga makabalo ka kung unsay purpose sa imong life, why you enrolled in that course in the first place, of course your resilience will increase because you find enrolling in that course as meaningful to you. Meaning to say, ginatagaan mo na siya og value. Ginatagaan mo na siya og valor. So yun. Okay? So, this diagram teaches us that despite of course, we have this kind of goal in life, no, nga gusto nato ma-attain, no? But since that, ang quote dere is accept change, na yung mga goals jud class nga dili nato diha jud nga ma-attain or dili na jud nato siya ma-attain forever. But then the important message here is that you never stop trying. Okay? Regardless if ang goal is ma-achieve nimo or dili, because the process of becoming is way more important than the goal itself. Because in the process, you grow as a person. It could be in the process you fight or you fought stress, no? But then, however, no, because of the situation that right now nga pandemic, say for example, maniabot na siya tapos nag-change na nga to ang goal, the important thing there is that wala ka ni stop og try because in the process, you grow as a person nga pag sa sunod na pud nga opportunity nga moabot sa imuha, kaning process kaning growth nga nakuha nimo sa process of becoming can be a useful tool in order for you to handle challenges na pod nga moabot sa imuhang life. This really increases your resilience level. Okay? And then learn from your past, no? And then this is what I learned from Charles Darwin's evolutionary perspective, no? The purpose of memory is not just to merely reminisce what you experienced in the past. The purpose of memory is you try to remember the past, what you did at the time, learn from it, and not to repeat those mistakes that you committed in the future. Unang si Charles Darwin is very popular in his kanang sa evolutionary, kanang sa survival. Because you will survive once that those mistakes nga imong na-commit before is you're not going to repeat those same mistakes again right now. Okay? And then the last one is you seek help. Of course, no man is an island, no. You are really encouraged to ventilate how you feel, no? Because tendency would be if dili nimo na i-ventilate ng imuhang gibati, no? You feel stressed a lot, no? And then wala kay kasturyahan, it will kill you inside, no? Muna ang uban maka-experience og panic attack because ang ilahang na feel is ginaloom-loom lang nila inside, no? And extreme kayo ang stress nga ma-feel nimo whenever you have that kind of attitude nga ginaloom-loom lang nato. Even if you are introverted, no, you're really required or encouraged to really express how you feel with others. As long as that person nga imong share yan is trusted lang. So in your school, you have guidance counselors, no? So they are very much willing to listen sa inyong concern. Kaya sila Sir Hill, no? So yun. So this also improves your resilience because if gidaluom lang nato permanente, we will really feel stress a lot and then mas mataas na ino na nato ang stress level unya maka-decrease na dahil na ato ang resilience. That's why ventilating is also one way of increasing your resilience. Okay, that's it for I think that's all for my presentation. Thank you and good morning.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Soria, sir, for a very comprehensive and enlightening presentation on how to become aware and how to manage stress, especially in this time of pandemic. We've learned today that anxiety or stress is normal and is needed in our body, but we just need to balance and control it. All your advices, sir, are very useful, not just for the students, but for us teachers also.
Thank you, ma'am.
So thank you so much. And now let's come to the open forum for the question and answers. For the students or for you are going to write your questions in the chat box.
Snap.
Okay, so we will entertain questions now. Questions? No. Okay, we have here from Rogelio Morillo Jr. How will you handle your stress? How will you handle your stress? Okay,
how will you handle? Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for that question. No, as what I mentioned, no, there are 3 effects of stress. No, I'm just going to share with you also my how I approach this one when I'm going to have a counseling session with someone. No, say for example, if the person really is trying to tell you about this stressor that he or she experienced, labi na kani siya is external nga stressor. No? If it's external, no. So what I do with my client is I let the person choose, no, kung unsay iyahang buhaton ani nga stressor, no. So as what I mentioned, labi na pag kani siya nga stressor is external, meaning to say nasa iyang environment, dili sa iyaha, no, internally. So akong ginapa-choose sa iyaha is number 1, you're going to adjust with that stressor. Number 2, you're going to make that stressor adjust to you. Or number 3, you're going to adjust with that, or you're going to avoid that stressor. Which is which? You can only choose one. So say for example, if your stressor, for example, so if ang imuhang stressor is ang imuhang parents, for example, no, naman siya inana nga mga ginastorya sa mga students. So what are you going to do? Number one is, is it, pwede ba siya nga i-avoid ni mo na siya nga stressor? If it's no, then you will go to the two, no? The other two. Number two is you're going to make that stressor adjust para sa imuha. If is dili gyapon siya pwede, you only have number three option. You're going to adjust with that stressor. So yun. So these are the three options that you can only do whenever you experience a stressor that is external, no? And then if you choose number three, for example, that you're going to adjust with that stressor, then you're going to reflect na dayon, what is something in me that I can do, or that I will need to change in myself in order to adjust with that stressor. Say for example, no? So yun. Kana siya if it's external. But then if it's internal, the only way or ang first din natong buhaton ana is self-awareness. You need to recognize first your strengths and weaknesses, no? So yun. There is also, I think you have that also in your senior high, no? You're familiar with this. There is also this what we call as SWOT analysis, right? Itong strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So you're going to list all of your strengths there, and then your weaknesses, and then your opportunities, the things that you can utilize, no, in achieving that goal. Say for example, and then your the threats, no, the things that surrounds you, which impedes, no, or which hinders the upon achieving that kind of goal. So self-awareness is very, very important. But then when you're going to apply that, you also need to take into consideration the element of change that you're going to apply, no? So yun. So you really need to change if it's internal stressor. So you really need to do something about yourself. Like, kanilang siya nga kuan ka sa kaning sa social media right now. Some would say, labi na when you're going to talk about mental health, no? Some would say that, or many would say that, it's okay not to be okay, right? When we are going to recognize how we feel, di ba? But then, no, there's a but there, or there's an extension there, no? It's okay not to be okay. I agree with that, no? But then the extension is, by recognizing the fact that you are not okay, means that you need to do something in order for you to become okay. Dili kay paundayunan na lang po nato nga dili ta okay permanente. You need to reflect on yourself on what to do in order for you to become okay. So that's it for my answer regarding to your question. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Morello, answer by mo question. Okay, we have another question here. Paano po ba mawawala yung anxiety, sir?
Okay,
Paano
ma'am. Thank you,
mawawala?
ma'am.
Mawawala ba yan?
Okay. For anxiety, no, there's this study that says that when you're going to talk about anxiety, ang anxiety manggod is kung ang anxiety manggod nga level is ingon ana kung inana ang level sa imong anxiety, talking about in a neuroscientific way, ingon ana na jud na siya nga level sa anxiety nato, no? So that's why, as what I mentioned during therapy, no, what we do with our clients is, despite sa inani ang ato ang anxiety nga level, we're going to increase the brave level sa isa ka person. Okay? Anxiety is normal because anxiety is very helpful in order for us to move forward into our lives, no? So yun. Ang anxiety is a friend, dili lang na siya nga kanang enemy nga maka-disrupt permanently sa ato ang day-to-day nga mga activities, no? Ang anxiety is also a friend because it really requires us to keep moving forward. Okay? So, if you have an anxiety, no, try to do some things nga hinahinay lang, dili sa pinakalit, nga kana bitaw mas ma-challenge ka, no? Ma-challenge ka ani nga mga butanga in order to increase your brave level despite sa imuhang level sa imuhang anxiety. Okay? So, yun. Pero hinahinay lang, not abrupt or ditso because makuratan po datong body ana, tendency would be basi na inuunog ka ng mas musamot na nga to ang anxiety level. Okay?
Okay, we have here another question, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
What is the best way to handle a distress? Distress or stress?
Okay, ma'am. Um, the best way to handle stress is to fight stress. Okay? That's it. The best way to handle stress is to fight stress. Medyo shocking siya, no? O kung makadungog ta ani medyo murag maluyahan ta or makurat ta kay murag kakapoy ba ganang maka-experience ko ani nga stress na pod. So yon. If that stressor is wala tay choice pero to confront that kind of stressor, maybe we need to retool our mind, our principle about how we handle that kind of stressor and do something about it. Because naman times nga ang dili ang stressor ang problem, but the problem is you. May times nga dili stressor ang problem but the problem is you. Maybe perhaps there is something in you, no, that needs to be improved in order for you to properly accept that kind of stressor. So yun. But then napo yung mga stressors nga pwede ra pud nato siya ma-avoidan, no? So yun. If these stressors are really not going to help you in the long run, kunya pwede ra siya ma-avoid, then you avoid that kind of stressor. Okay?
Meron questions pa. How can you identify a person na na-stress na po?
How can you
Identify a person na na-stress.
yes, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. How can you identify if the person is stressed, no? First is if I'm as a counselor, no, client-centered man ko, so I usually base my observation and my interpretation based on how the client interprets his or her experience. Now, whenever the person will tell you that he or she is stressed, for me as a counselor who is client-centered, then I will consider that person as stressed. Okay? If the person will say to you, "Sir, I'm stressed." Okay? Would you like to tell me the reason why you are stressed? And then if that person will tell you a lot about the things that makes him or her stress, no, say for example, gikapoy na siya, or di na siya katulog, no, or nag-anxiety na siya, for example, then as long as the person after after the person tells that to you that he or she is stressed, and then after that dili niya bawion tong iyang dimension nga he or she is stressed based on how he or she explains that kind of feeling whenever he or she experiences stress, then I can say that that person really is stressed. Kaya inana man ang iyang pagtan-aw sa iyang self, which is lahi na kung moingon siya og depressed, which is dili na sa kuan, gamin siya depressed. Kaya depression is a clinical term. Okay? Lahi ang stress, lahi ang depression. Ang depression is pwede na ang pwede ra jud maka-mention ana is katong mga professionals nga credible nga mo-mention nga or mo label sa imo nga na kay depression. But then when you are going to talk about stress, no, kung if the person really is stressed, no, based on how he or she perceive it sa iyang self, then the person is really stressed.
Okay, thank you, sir. Here's another question. Is too much stress could lead to mental health problems? If so, what are these mental health problems, sir?
Yes, ma'am. There's a lot, no. Stress is the number one reason why the person experiences mental disorder. Aside sa katong biological disposition niya, even gani sa iyang biological trait, like for example, if the person really has a schizophrenia, for example, kay nana siya sa iyang biological nga genome, so yun, the person or mo activate na siya, no, isa sa reason is because the person is stressed. Okay, so meaning to say there are some disturbances nga naitabo sa iyang brain patterns, that's why the person experiences stress. Pero kung tan-awon po nato sa other side katong sa mental disorder nga, say for example kung atong term, no, layman's term nga kanang nabuang or na panic attack, say for example, one of the reasons is stress, Jude. The person experiences that one because of stress. Mo dyan na siya ang number one. Okay? Labi na pagka na siya nga person doesn't know how to handle that one. But then, this is very, medyo contradicting siya sa akong mention ganina that we are really required to fight stress, no? Because how can we fight stress if we don't have anything in us na pwede na to magamit in order to fight that stress, no? My suggestion with that one is that's why, as what I mentioned ganina, self-awareness is very, very important, no? We need to do something. We need to reflect on ourselves kung unsa atong strengths, unsa atong mga weaknesses. If kani nga mga weaknesses kaya ba ni nato siya ma-change or mag-gradually change sa ato ang selves. Okay, if dili ni siya kaya ma-change ni nga mga weaknesses in relation to that kind of stressor that you are facing, then avoid that kind of stressor. Okay? So yun. But then the one way the really solution, no, for improving our resilience is really to fight stress, because we cannot increase our resilience if permanente rata sa ato ang comfort zone. That's why bawal jud ang pampering na lang permanente nga ginapamper na to permanente atong self. No, we are really required to face our stressor. Why? Because dili lang kana siya nga stressor ang atong ma-face sa atong entire life, no? There are a lot of problems that we will experience later on. And if you're not prepared, if wala ka naka-experience og stressor karon, tendency would be, in the long run, pag maka-experience ka itong dako nga problema, dako ka na siyang impact sa imong life. Okay? Maka-cause sa imong grabbing stress. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. We have here another question. How will you overcome a traumatic experience?
Okay, ma'am. If it's traumatic, then I would suggest you need to seek for professional help. First is counselor, no? If the person experiences trauma, first is counselor. If beyond na gani sa capacity sa person o sa counselor, better nga mag-seek og psychologist. Suggestion nako, dili dapat mo diretso og psychiatrist. Psychologist jud ang pinakauna class. Why? Because pag ditso man gud tag psychiatrist, ditso na din na siya tambal. There are issues and concerns nga pwede ra siya nga madala ra siya therapy, dili tambal ditso. Why? Because ang atong body na siya natural way of healing. Pero if dili na gani, or ang psychologist na gani ang moingon nga you really need to take medicine, that's why I'm going to refer you to a psychiatrist, then go to a psychiatrist. But prior to that, psychologist sa jud ang pinakauna. Okay.
Sure. Okay, thank you. Other questions here are already repeated. So another one here, sir, can you give some advice or tips? Tapos na to, sir. Okay, so wala nang ibang question? Wala na? Okay, I think we don't have questions anymore. So let's proceed. Okay, so Sir Carl, can you please stop sharing your presentation, sir?
Ma'am?
I-stop sharing po yung presentations niyo po.
Yes po, ma'am. Sorry po.
Okay, thank you po.
Asa ni siya kuan, ma'am? Digital kuan gani. Okay, new share my good anak kabutang diri ama. Stop kali ma'am.
Stop sharing.
Okay, anak kabutang magud diri ma'am is nara stop share na day. Sorry.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay, so may pahabang question, sir. Are
Yes,
these mental health problems treatable? Treatable.
Okay, some are not treatable. Mostly are not treatable. Some are treatable, no. So yun. And somehow medyo complicated na siya nga question, no? But then I cannot identify if which of those mental disorders are treatable, which of those which are those are not treatable. So yun. Some are treatable, some are not treatable.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Ma'am.
And really appreciate, sir, having you as our resource speaker today. And please accept our warmest thank you for giving us your time. And
Thank you, ma'am.
we are giving certificate as certificate of appreciation to Carl Adam C. Soria, MA-RGC. We are in grateful recognition and appreciation for his valuable effort as resource speaker in perceived stress of students during this time of pandemic at Merchant Marine Academy of Carga Incorporated on March 18, 2021, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. via Zoom online. Given this 18th day of March 2021 at Merchant Marine Academy of Carga Incorporated, thank you so much, sir, for your time.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the opportunity. Thank you po.
Okay, so. Yes, ma'am. What's next? So, mag-screen picture daw, sirs.
Sige po. Sige po, ma'am.
Smile, everyone. Okay na? Thank you and
ma'am.
bye-bye.
Sige po. Sige po.
Okay na?